Hi, I'm Ken Demofonte. I'm a business technology and music industry consultant from the greater Philadelphia, and this is Series 2 of my Business Masterclass. Today we're going to focus on how to assess your market, develop a competitive advantage, manage your risk, and I'm going to kind of break down what a business plan is, and we'll get into that further next week. I'm gonna start kind of making a dummy business plan with you guys so we can learn how to do that. All right, there's 4 factors used to assess your market. You have demand, competition, labor conditions, and regulatory conditions. Now, demand for your product, that's kind of common sense. It's just what, why people want your product. And will people want your product? Competition. You got to see where you fall into the market share or where you project you're going to fall into the market share. All that is, that's just your company proportionate to the entire market, just how much volume you're going to make up within that market. You got to see what segment you're going to fall into. That can affect a lot. You have just there's different niches within the markets that can affect how people will see your business, and that can affect where you fall into that market share and your cost structure, etc. For example, let's say you are starting up a pen company. Now, are you a premium pen company? Are you kind of one of them companies that just sells bulk amounts of pens? Are you a specialty pen company that makes custom pens for special occasions? I mean, this is a random example I'm just throwing at you. But it kind of shows there's different niches within each market that you can fall into. They're called segments, and that will affect a lot, especially on the resale value of your products and or services. Your labor conditions affect a lot. It affects your cost of labor. Say you're opening up a hospital, and obviously that's going to be a lot of expense there, because not counting even having to buy the gigantic building or anything like that, you're going to need doctors, you're going to need managers, you're going to need technicians, nurses, specialists. You're going to need all these people, and because of their specialized skills, you have to pay them proportionately. Also, you have, let's say you're running a construction company. You're going to have possible union workers, and unions, I'm not saying they're a good thing or a bad thing. They are what they are. But one thing unions will affect, they will typically want to raise the wages for their workers, which is understandable. But that does affect your cost of labor. Um, Knowing what kind of labor conditions you're going to have within your industry can definitely help you estimate your operating costs and just help you get a more accurate projection of what things are going to cost you in the long run. Regulatory conditions help with this too. Now, you have federal, state, and local regulations that are going to affect everything. They're going to affect initial investment, let's say like licensing that's required, or you might need certain documents in order for your business to be formed. Like in our last class, we talked about for like a corporation, you need your articles of incorporation. That's mandatory, so that has to be filed with the state. There's state filing fees. Um, there's all kinds of things that play into that. Obviously, you're going to want to check with a lawyer or talk to somebody who is familiar with your state's regulations, your local area's regulations, to make sure you fall within that. It affects your entire way of operating your business. Let's say you're running a restaurant. You have to make sure that you stay up to the regulatory standards that are enforced in the food service industry. And everybody who is starting a business needs to understand the severity of these regulations. You need to stay within them, because if you don't, one, you can face fines. You can possibly go to jail. I know, like, there's people who've had major cases where they've wound up in jail for not paying taxes because they didn't understand the rules behind their business's taxes. Um, you can also get negative publicity out of it. This is especially true with environmental cases. If you're a company that is sitting there chopping down rainforests or sitting there doing anything that's bad to the environment, the media is just going to make you look terrible. Yeah, and you have to stay within the rules and regulations. So if they do come at you with something like that, accusing you, you can always say, hey, I'm following the law. I'm well within a scope of legality. All right, competitive advantage. Let's talk about that. Um, after you figure out what's going on with your competitors, you need to assess your product or service to make sure that you have an advantage within that industry. I mean, there's no sense of starting up a business if your product's not going to sell. So you have a couple things that can give you an advantage. You have efficiency and you have quality. Now, efficiency, obviously, if it's costing you less money to make your product, you can sell it for cheaper. People like things that are cheaper. Also, quality. That you can trump up your price a little bit. You can raise it and people will pay for it if they see that it's worth it. So, having a better quality product, and if you're able to pull it off, if you can do that for the same price or even a little less than your other competitor, you're going to blow them away. Um, Now, a way you can kind of assess this, you use what's called a SWOT analysis. It's SWOT, not SWAT like a SWAT team. It's a strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Um, you can use this for a new business you're starting up, and you can also use it for an existing business that you're trying to maybe do an expansion with or just trying to build up further. And I recommend that anybody who's running a business does these on a regular. You want to know your strengths, you want to know your weaknesses, you want to know your opportunities, what you can do with this business, and you want to know what your threats are, what is going to make life difficult for you. All right. Again, we're going to get into a business plan further. We're going to do the sample one, kind of walk through step by step what's involved with that. It's kind of a long process, but it will give you a huge, just a massive amount of strength when it comes to going in to try to acquire funding in any sort. It also makes it very easy for people to learn about your analysis of your business, to be able to potentially invest. Like if you're a publicly traded company, you're going to want this. So there's 8 typical parts to it. You have your executive summary, your company's description, your market analysis, your organization and management breakdown, your service or product line, your marketing and sales strategies, your financial projections, and there's usually appendices that are thrown in at the end, just kind of to supplement everything. Now, your executive summary, that's kind of just a breakdown of the business plan overall. It's a summary. It touches on your company's profile, your goals, things of that sort. Your company description, that just tells who you are, what you do, what makes you different, and the people that you're going to be serving, the market. Then your market analysis, that breaks down the industry, it breaks down the market, and it breaks down your competition. Your organization and management structure, that's pretty self-explanatory. It just tells who's running this business, why they're qualified to run the business, and kind of what the chain of command is within all of this. Um, you have your service and product line. It's telling what products you're trying to put out there, what they're going to do for the consumers, and what their possible life cycle is for it, how long and how durable this product will be within that market. Um, then you have your marketing and sales strategies. It's how you're going to get this product out to them consumers and what your plan is to get them to buy it. Financial projections. Obviously, you're not going to walk into a bank, go up to the person at the bank and say, hey, I need money. They're going to want to know why they should give you money, what kind of money you see coming out of this, what kind of profits you're projecting, why you're projecting them, and so forth. Then at the end, again, they typically will include appendices, like typically like a CEO of a company is going to have his resume at the end. Maybe some of his other officers' resumes too, to show kind of a supplement of why this person is qualified. Any kind of permits or licenses you may have needed when you were starting up, just to show that you already have this established. Leases to show that you have property for the business that is being used for the business, etc. Maybe domain registrations if you're an online-based company. There's tons of things you can just throw in to just build the strength of this business plan. Also going to walk through with you what to do once you build this, where to go, where you can get funding so you can build this business and be successful. And that's the end. Next week, we're going to start working on this business plan, and that's it. I'm Ken Demofonte, and this was part 2 of my business masterclass.